What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern. So it's Coffee with Creators. This is like the 70-something episode. Yeah, this, not a green screen, 42 West 18th Street. This is Adorama. This is Jennifer Stitt. We're going to get into this human in a minute. She literally just barged in here, was like, oh, traffic's crazy, and then just sits down. But we are very appreciative she's here. We'll get into who she is in a minute. But of course, we got to give a quick thank you to the sponsor, Nanlite. You guys know Nanlite. In fact, you're looking at Nanlite right now. Nanlite has actually been a huge supporter of the event space since I rebuilt it a couple of years ago. All the lights, all those big, long 8-foot LED tubes that you see, all Nanlite. And I know you're a fan of Nanlite for sure. And we actually just did a demo last night with light painting, Nanlite tubes. So if you were looking for constant light, check out Nanlite for Pavo Slim tubes, any types of panels, mono lights. They got all sorts of RGB lights going on right now, all new stuff. And if you're looking for higher powered, higher end cinema type stuff, Nanlux is what you're looking for there. Check out the link down below for everything about them. Want to give a quick thank you. Oh, I forgot. Because you crash landed, I forgot to get you. Usually I have on hand a Tenba bag to give you. It's a custom Coffee Creators bag. You're getting a bag because they want to say they appreciate that we have photographers on here, and they want to make sure that they support this show. So Tenba has been around since 1977, started by I'm getting a bag. You know what? Do filler, Jen. I'm getting a bag.
So, hey there. This is pretty cool. This store is absolutely amazing here.
All right, Jen. Look at this. Boom.
Ooh.
Yeah. So custom metal plate, Coffee with Creators.
Ooh.
So started by a photographer here in 1977 in New York. So if you've been in this industry at all for any amount of time, you probably ended up with a Tempa bag in your kit. So that's for you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone tries to display. You just lay it. So
but it's so pretty.
Done. I want to say a huge thank you to Gotham Roasters for hooking us with the coffee. Cheers, kid. What'd you get?
Ooh, iced latte.
So posh. So posh. The cool thing about Gotham Roasters is they're one block up here in New York from Adorama, and it's owned by a photographer and a filmmaker. So you're supporting the game, you're supporting the community, and you can go get one and sit down here for a class at around 5 o'clock because Jennifer is actually live tonight. We'll get into that as well. But who is Jennifer Stitt? I'm so glad you guys asked. Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm like so hot now that I just went through all that.
And the weather, this November weather is throwing me for a loop.
I love the fall so much. Who is Jennifer Stitt? Well, I met Jennifer through like the trade shows, actually. You're an educator, but you've been a photographer for a very long time. You actually have Fox Brazen, which you founded. It's a storefront. So it's like the traditional, what we've all known photography business to be. She's doing it in 2025, which I think is super cool. And she's always busy. Family portraits, holidays, all that kind of stuff. Actually building up client list, actually becoming part of a family's like life, which is crazy. And I just thought it was really cool. But also I've watched her work as an educator on the trade shows. And I think she does a really good job of being very relatable, being very real about what you're going to encounter while you're shooting in things like, I don't know, engagement sessions, stuff like that. Right. So you're going to be doing a demo later today, which is basically photographing couples is what I'm breaking it down to being.
That's pretty close. Close enough. I mean,
close enough. I will say I've thrown wrenches, like monkey wrenches at her demos while she's live, doesn't even flinch. And that is when I'm like, all right, we're going to bring you in to do some other stuff. And I think that right now we're building up your presence as like this part of things because you just shoot and you work and you build your business, you build your brand and you go to the next day. You're not doing what, me and Dane else to do, which is like this new camera, this, blah, 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 but we're going to see what happens here. So first of all, what led you to starting Fox Brazen, right? So you had to have started somewhere shooting before you ended up with that. And what made you go that route? Because, guys like me, we ended up going commercial routes more, which is like studio and stuff like that. But you really kept it, I struggle for a word here, but I say wholesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been described as wholesome.
I don't know. I see you wearing like Santa hats and like going like, come in for your Christmas portrait. Like that's wholesome. I'm like, I'm over here like drenched in fake blood and stuff. And you're like, yeah.
I mean, maybe we can combine like our minds and do like Santa dressed like drenched in blood next year or something for Halloween. Like you promote you, I promote me. But yeah, so Fox Brazen was originally called Uncorked Studios.
Okay.
And That came about because I actually used to work for another photographer, and I like to refer to her as the woman who taught me everything not to do in a business.
Okay.
And for part of...
Oh, do I not follow this?
Oh, you don't follow me?
I follow you. You know what it is? I get confused because it's almost the same page.
That's fair. Yeah, I do a lot of cross-posting. So I used to work for this woman who taught me everything not to do in a business. And she decided to sell her business, and my job went kaput when she sold her business. So I decided that it would be fun to start my own version of everything and photograph the things that I really enjoyed photographing. So for her, she did a lot of school portraits, a lot of dance portraits, sports portraits, church portraits, you name it, she would shoot it. And I really fell in love at that point with photographing couples and weddings and people in love.
Yeah, that's not where sorry about that black screen, by the way. I'm having a technical issue. So were you always shooting people? Was that where you started going for it? And then was it just a natural progression to go into like couples? Because you vibe with people like instantly. That's like, I think portrait photographers have this way of like connecting really quick, but you're doing a different thing. You're connecting with like a dynamic between people, not just the person. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. So originally, way back when, like when I was 18, I actually worked for a newspaper as a photojournalist. So I would get my assignments in the morning and then have to go to all these different locations during the day to capture a photo to illustrate the story that was going to be in the newspaper. This newspaper was up in the state of Maine, so we didn't really have a ton of like, let's say, hard-hitting news. So I was there over the summers, and I'd get to cover a lot of festivals, and they would do pieces on some of the local farms, or if there was absolutely nothing going on, I'd stop, like, as weird as this sounds, like in a local park and like take pictures of kids blowing bubbles, because it's summer in Maine, and like we had the beautiful rocky coast, and like kids were still kids at that point. So
what does that mean?
Yeah, right. They like went outside and like blew bubbles, you know, instead of like sitting playing video games, I guess. I don't know. But
hey.
But you have to kind of become fast friends with the people you photograph, especially if you're a stranger to them.
Yeah. And they also have to trust you to get to that layer. I think a lot of what I call people throwing photos at people, where they're not, it's just like a conversation. You're talking at someone, not with them. And you can feel in the photos. And a lot of people are like, look at how great this photo is. Like, you only cared about the technical part. Yes, it's beautiful, but this is vapid. There's nothing there. You always, when I see your work, it's what they want to see when they see those photos back. They're like, oh no, we're actually, what's that word? Happy. And we actually enjoy our time together, and we're getting married for a reason and stuff like that. So I think that your ability to be personable is the thing that most people, no matter how technical we try to train you guys or whatever, or get you guys educated, that's something that I can't help you with. You have to kind of, I guess, have social skills. Is that crazy? Is that crazy? Do you think it's something people can work on? Do you think that there's like, not like a photo therapy? Do you think that there's kind of like a, and when I say that, I mean, there really are people that look at the camera as like this giant wall between them and the subject, which I don't think you subscribe to at all.
I mean, gosh, I feel like the best way to get to know people is to put yourself in a scenario where you will be with people and see people. And to be honest, if I looked at myself 10 years ago, there is no way I'd be sitting here recording a podcast with anybody. I'm a very shy person, believe it or not. So
yeah, I think you hit your limit though. I've seen you kind of, what? Like, I've seen you get a little, you know, there's a little bit of Bronx in you, a little bit.
Little bit. That little sweet Maine girl, you know, in the Bronx now. So I do think like going to in-person education and working with people and just putting yourself just a little bit further every single time you photograph really helps get the story across in the images and gets what you want to tell as part of it. But
you are trained. You went to RIT, right?
Yes.
So you're one of those snobs.
I wouldn't say I'm a snob. So I was actually in the film and animation program, so I didn't go for photo.
So yeah, but that has to tie into where we're at now. I mean, animation alone, just for dumb little things like TikTok, has to have been helping you excel in some way, right?
So my brain has always been a storytelling brain. So when I went to college for film and animation, I actually did more of the storytelling track of everything. And my brain has always thought in constant lighting and moving of cameras and changing lenses and using all of your tools to tell a story, essentially in movie form, short form, long form, which is always, it's insanely helped my career, insanely helped me as an artist.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize that what we do, I know I always talk about it as a language, but it's really unless you're blind, it really is the most universal language, period. I think we had a question the other night on my demo. Well, what if people aren't getting what you're basically saying? Then you kind of didn't do enough to get over the goal, or you have to realize that everybody is coming from somewhere else when they view your work, and something might be traumatic to someone and something might be funny to another. And you've got to kind of shave it down. If you really want to drive a point home, to me, I think leaving it a little bit open-ended is the best part. Who wants to look when they can be a participant? At least that's the way I look. I don't know. You guys in the chat, good morning. I see all of you. What's going on? Kristen, Melanie, Matthew's grip, which is just Martin. If you guys have any questions, that's where we're live. Hit us up in the chat. So what would you say is the biggest genre for your business right now? Have you seen a trend in or some sort of genre of clientele? Like when I started seeing divorce sessions, I was like, this is so modern. It's crazy. But there are people who spent money on like a wedding. Maybe it didn't work out and they still have the deposit or whatever, and they transform it over to divorce. Is there some weird genre you see popping up that you've been asked to do that you see kind of growing a little bit?
Oh man, that's a great question. I have not actually photographed a divorce session.
Which is wild. Or a breakup session?
It sounds like it would be kind of fun in a way, because you're really freeing that individual from something that was maybe not the best part of their life. So you're kind of giving them a cutoff to move on to something new and to really capture that. So that would actually... anyone out there, call me.
What would you do for a divorce session?
Yeah. Oh, what would I do?
Just a sledgehammer to his car, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bring his car, girl, spray paint. No. I think it would really be about empowering the individual and making them feel the best possible, and maybe bringing in one of their specific hobbies or something that they love that maybe they didn't get to celebrate in their relationship.
I think I'd make one of those giant Mario Brothers bullets and dodging it. That would be although knowing Nintendo, I'd probably get sued pretty quick. They're pretty crazy with their IPs. I feel like a lot of what you do, there's depth for the person that's in that shop, but as individuals, you're not hanging in a gallery, for example. You're not putting it in MoMA or whatever, right? So is there something you'd want to chase on that level? Something a little more deeper? Is there some kind of fine art work you want to chase, or your whole thing is no, I'm doing it for them. It's more of a service industry for you.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like it's really rewarding to tell somebody's story, that someone would trust you enough to come and emotionally be available to have their story told. And I actually really enjoy photographing people's relationships, whether it's a relationship with a spouse, a kid, a dog, a family member. And I know for me, some of the most valuable photos I have are with people that aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
And to be able to provide a level of comfort to someone to look at those photos after someone has passed is really more rewarding for me than seeing my artwork in a museum.
Yeah, no, totally. My grandmother passed away years ago, and I always think I should have shot her portrait. I should have made time. I should have done it. It's always one of those things. So I think the images alone, people try to remember people, but then when they see them, it's oh yeah, they were a little different looking than I remember, or something like that. Brian in the chat is asking, is portraiture going to evolve to pictures that move? How would they be displayed? Do stills get displayed very often on digital frames? I think in my opinion, I think while we all have an attention span of a goldfish these days, and we all watch 6-second loops, you don't connect as heavy with something that is a short moving thing. The movement has to add to a narrative that makes you connect to the story. And if you don't have the 3 minutes to watch that thing, you're not connecting, right? But an image can kind of spearhead right through you.
I think an amazing image that brings in all the elements that have impact to you, we don't necessarily need the motion. But I mean, digital frames you can put little clips in now.
I got my mom a digital frame and she's refusing to plug it in. She's it makes a thing. It does this, the cable, and it's nice thought though, right? I don't know.
I mean, my mom has one that my brother will upload pictures of all the grandkids to. So she's constantly seeing brand new pictures of her grandkids and everything that.
The cloud thing is cool, right? Wherever you are, it's just constantly updating.
Yeah.
So when you are working with clients, what are the tangibles you try to give them? Is it just a bunch of digital files, or are they still asking you to no, we want to print, we want a book? Is there tangibles? Do you see that that's still viable? Like, what are we doing?
So I encourage, so all the collections that I offer for my business, I still offer a print credit in those collections where they can take that as essentially a gift card and buy wall art or an album or just prints. I think it's really important that we're the trusted advisor for our clients and reminding them that to have something tangible instead of something that just lives on a phone or lives on a digital device, we're not going to print like 20 photos to print on our wall for a session. We're going to pick our favorite one that really, when you come home at the end of the day and you open your door and that photo is hanging on your wall, it just takes you back to that moment of maybe happiness or like a sad happy. Like if there's someone in the photo that's no longer here, it's going to bring you comfort knowing that they're watching over you from like your wall and everything like that.
Deep. Wow. So for me, like I call them civilians, but like where I'm at, I put all this type of images up because I wanted to subconsciously creep into my brain. So when I do have to shoot, I kind of pick up elements that I don't even realize I'm picking up. For civilians, I think they kind of don't even realize that there's a vibe from just having things that make them subconsciously or in the peripheral, make them feel like even anything, like literally anything, right? Or even just like that moment where you're walking by something and like, oh yeah, remember when grandma, like something like that, or someone comes over, doesn't know what any of these photos are and they start walking them through their life almost. Like you're part of that. You're part of that. That's a lot of responsibility. I don't like this anymore.
Oh, sorry, man.
It's a lot of responsibility, man. So you just got back from Adobe Max.
I did.
And having just talked about what we just talked about, did Adobe Max make you feel anything different? Because I feel like, one, that's like the cutting edge of everything. And they go, here's all the AI stuff that be created by machines and not human. And you are so all about the human, right? Where are you feeling after all the messaging from that?
So
you look
that,
so uncomfortable right now.
That is, well, not uncomfortable, but like, how do I say my emotions? So like being there, sitting in the audience, and you're in the same theater that I think the Emmys are in. So it's this huge theater and they're up on stage. And if you've never been to Adobe Max, like highly recommend going. It's just an absolutely insane thing being there as a photographer. And there's so many other creatives, period. More creatives there, not just photographers. And they're demoing where all the new software is going, where all the capabilities of everything goes. And sitting there in the seats, yes, there is a lot of AI. There is a lot of AI on the horizon. But part of my heart was warm knowing that at this point, AI is not going to recreate an event. It's not going to recreate a relationship. It's not going to recreate something that's real. It may help us edit our photos faster. It may help us color photos faster. It may help us get that delivery better. It may help clean up the background of an image a little bit better. But the reason that I photograph is to capture a moment for my clients, and that can't be replaced by a robot.
So I think the end of it is the viewer. You know, I think if they go like an AI generation of a wedding that never happened, if it's good enough for them to be like, I'm okay with it, then it's okay, right? That's kind of where we're at. I keep saying if we had an all AI movie, the ticket sales are going to dictate if it's successful. If people don't care and they buy those tickets, right? I do think that there was an issue with Adobe where people thought that it was just farming our images to feed their AI. Did you feel they were messaging anything about that? I feel like there's a trust thing at this point. AI has now gone so hard and fast that we need trust now. And clearly you're all about trust with the way you work. Do you feel like there was a messaging about that at all?
I do feel like they were really making it known that they don't use your images to help train everything. They're actually bringing in a lot of third-party models into their software now to help with more accuracy and everything like that. But I don't think it's a trust issue with necessarily our images training the AI. I think there's a trust issue with some creatives on really seeing where the industry is going to go. Are we replaceable?
Yeah. Well, retouchers, I feel like got replaced overnight. Like, wow. The amount of people that I know that retouch just kind of then like, a month later, like, but if you think about any job that was repetitive or replicable, like you could replicate it and it's digital, you've got to start thinking, where do I go from here? You know?
I think we all just need to take a step back and we need to figure out how we can be I used this term before, a trusted advisor in the space.
Okay.
So I feel like if perhaps you're a retoucher, you need to take a step back and figure out how to educate your clientele on the appropriate use of AI retouching and how to do it the best.
That's fair.
Is it, removing telephone wires from behind, a scene that's in a field? Okay, that's probably appropriate. But to remove the field and put them on the moon, I don't know. For a wedding day, is that appropriate?
Yeah, but when you talk about a photographer, like now, you can retouch in real time of tethering. What? But what I don't think people talk about is that you have to be kind of like okay with what it gives you. That's kind of your trade-off is like, you're not a control, but you have a slider. Like how plastic do I make them? But you also have to be okay with however they went about it. Some people, like for me, I actually, when I do commercial work, I recommend retouchers I know, because like I know their style. I know it won't look ridiculous. There's so much retouching out there that's kind of like spitting in the face of the viewer. Like, no, that's totally what they look like. What are you talking about? But there's also viewers that are okay with it. We both taught at trade shows that live on this aesthetic and look of over retouch. You know what I mean?
But how many people do you see walking down the street who had a little bit too much plastic surgery? They put on a little bit too much makeup in the morning.
Yeah, but
like
they're still 3D. They still have pores.
Do they?
I don't know anymore, right? I mean, I do worry about that. When the kids get younger and younger in these chairs, and I start looking at the images, they go, like, how can I do this?
Seth, you're just getting older and older.
Shut up. Oh my God. That's it. You never, finish your demo tonight. You're never coming back. They actually are being fed these images while they're developing their taste. So just like things keep going more digital and less tangible, they kind of are okay with the way that looks. And they go, hey, how can I recreate this? I'm like, half of that isn't even real. Half of that isn't even lighting. And then when you do show them something, they're wondering why there's something wrong because they can't understand how far away that image is from actual reality. I think we have to kind of train the younger generations to have a taste level again.
Yeah, we have to remind people that part of the human experience is connecting in an actual like real world. We lived a handful of years there where we didn't even leave our houses.
Yes, that's fair.
And to go back out and be part of an event and to live in an actual space that everything isn't perfect, it's okay. Nothing has to be perfect.
Perfect, right? So a while ago, a video game came out. I don't know if any of you nerds remember the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, but the box art was a really close-up picture of this girl's face, and she has peach fuzz, which is what normal humans have. And all the comments were like, this is this. Tell me you've never been around a really human woman before if you think that this isn't natural or what people look like. So that's why I say, like, define what's reality anymore, because some people don't really know. So we are feeding them a media that is filling their brains, which shapes their perception. And then here we are, No, we're not getting old. The rest of the year is getting young. Someone's actually asking, are Craigslist want ads for creatives a good start for professional photographers looking to get bookings? Yeah, where do you usually go for your bookings? I mean, you have a storefront, so you're kind of like a presence in your community.
Yeah, so I have a storefront with big windows, and I post pictures in my big, beautiful windows in my very small, I call it my Hallmark town. It's like small town USA. It's called Phoenixville. Look it up. It's absolutely beautiful. But Craigslist, man, it's been a while since I've heard about Craigslist.
Yeah, I think the last time I heard about Craigslist, it was about a serial killer documentary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Google might be a better direction to start heading with some of that stuff, Google Ads and things like that. I don't know if I would be looking for a quality photographer on Craigslist. I
think I got to be honest with you. A lot of times when I see people talking about Craigslist in our industry, they go like, look at this person wanting to spend $50 for a wedding photographer. They don't know what they're expecting. They just know they need photos, period. Right. So if you're starting out, and I guess maybe if you want people with lower expectations, but what is your time worth? You don't know this person. Are you going to use those photos for anything yourself? Can you use those photos for anything yourself? Is there going to be an issue with that? I mean, you got to build your book, but do you want to do it with strangers? Right. Sometimes I'm like, if you're really starting, work with people that actually know who you are and give you a little bit of leeway and you have a rapport with, because when you aren't, it just gets that much incrementally harder.
Yeah,
that's what I look at.
I would agree with that. And maybe look at attending some like conferences that have opportunities to photograph models or things like, or people like that to add to your portfolio, to buff up that portfolio.
I'm always worried about that. I think since we were at the trade shows and I do all the hands-on stuff, like you can spot someone's Instagram of like all the stuff from the trade shows and they didn't actually make it, you know? So you're putting up work that you didn't curate, you didn't set up, you didn't dial in, you were just given settings and like a thing to mess with. So I'm a little cautious about that, but I do think you should go to conferences to learn what happened there and then go apply. I think that's the key. You still always have to do your own.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, there's so many times when people come to critiques and they're showing me something like, this was totally from one of our workshops. You did not like this. But what I can critique is the moment you chose, this was the frame you culled out of all of it. That's the sort of the things you can kind of figure out. But I don't know how Craigslist is for getting genuine clients that you will end up having longevity with as a career. I'll say that.
Well, maybe they're looking for serial killer clients.
We do not. This is not endorsed or sponsored by serial killers. I'm just going to say that right now. It's really interesting what you'll see people value what we do for a living as. I mean, we just push a button for a living. Didn't you know that?
I do.
Apparently, yep. When they quote you under $100, I'm like, the day is going to cost me more than $100.
You can't park in New York City for more than less than $100.
Electricity to charge my batteries before I get to where I'm going. You are out of your mind. You know. Brian's asking, please talk about the wisdom of selling prints with extras and friends and relatives and framing. So I guess upselling once you're in the talk about getting prints for your client.
Yeah.
Shoot really good, make them want more stuff.
Yeah, right. So, wow, that's a big question. It's not necessarily let me roll that back. Cut that out. No. Yeah, that's fine. So people aren't going to spend money on things that they don't value and that they don't want. So it's not part of my job to sit there and talk them into purchasing additional things. It's to educate them on why the product that I offer is superior to, say, ordering from, I'm not going to insult anybody, but ordering from like, can I say Walmart? Like ordering from again,
you want to go to a trusted print house like Printique.
Yeah, you want to go to a place that is going to have the quality, the longevity, and everything like that. So I'm educating my clients on why what I offer is better. If they feel influenced to purchase something additional for the people that they love, that's a little bit on them. But there's nothing that I can really say or do to convince them to just spend extra money.
I got to tell you how many trade shows I've been to, especially years ago, which turned me off to trade shows. How many of the good-looking people get up on that stage and try to tell you how to get them to buy the extra pages, the second album, and the way they talk about it is like, oh, and that's what turned me off to a lot of this and why I stayed away from it. And then once I was able to do it my way, I was a lot more calmer about trade shows and more into it. But how many times did you walk into a platform class and someone was just basically talking about how to get them to? Once they say that part, it bothers me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, it gives what did the Utes say? The ick. You know, it gives me the ick when people try to sell me anything.
Yeah.
So it's all about, again, reminding people why there's value in something.
Yeah.
If you take amazing photos and you capture amazing moments for people, they will sell themselves.
That's basically it. You kind of want to get them so psyched on what you actually delivered in the end that they don't look at it as like a burden to then purchase something. They want to. Like, you have to show them how much they want something, and then let them make their own decision about it. I'm not in that game. I'm not, so I can't really speak on it, but I don't ever want to get someone to do something. I've sat in conference rooms for corporations and tried to pitch them campaigns, and I'll try to get what I can out of that, but a person that's just like, hey, Jen, connect with me and make me feel so warm and fuzzy. And they go, now buy an extra book. I'm like, yo.
You get this used car salesman kind of vibe sometimes.
A little old hat.
It is. I mean, we can all use, again, some guidance on selling better and doing better things. But again, if your client doesn't want it, convincing them that they need it is not necessarily the best way to go for your business.
And sometimes it doesn't have to happen right there. Let them be so comfortable that they can hit you up later on. Like, actually, my mom saw the photos and her sister wants this. Be that welcoming. Don't think it's only at that point of time and sale. Let them know you built a relationship they can come back to, especially where you're at. You're basically part of your community. You're like a fixture, you know? She's got a racket going on here. Melanie's asking, what do you do if the bride wanted group shots of everyone with some people already gone or had to leave? First of all, what kind of wedding is that? I guess you can AI generate them now, huh?
So we do. Yeah, you can pretty much. Yeah, you just hit a button and
you just go to the wedding and scan their faces and then leave and then just make up everything in AI.
You know, I kind of predict that's where, mark my word, I predict it's where it's going to go in the next handful of years. Okay. But we'll get into that separate. So for me, I do a ton of prep work with my brides and grooms on making sure that the VIPs that should be there for photos, we always have them arrive 15 minutes before the start of group photos. And I have them essentially arrange, I call it like the bossy aunt. The person who like really wants to help. And like, you're like, no, don't touch my dress. But you know what? If you just could corral this whole side of the family and make sure they know they need to be here, that's been a game changer for weddings for me. Essentially assigning someone else to do the task for you. Because that bossy aunt wants you to have the best day ever. And if her job is to simply make sure that no one takes grandma and grandpa and puts them in the car early and leaves, she is going to be like the queen of that. And that's one less thing I have to do. It's one less thing the wedding planner has to do. And grandma and grandpa will be sitting in the front row ready to go for photos.
Do you have assistants manage that, or do you actually have the conversation with the bossy aunt?
So I tell the bride and groom ahead of time to assign someone.
Oh, that's smart.
To kind of each side of the family, or if someone knows everybody. There is that one aunt who will know everybody. And I also advise my brides and grooms to tell every person who is needed for family photos is to specifically tell them. Because the one person who always skips family photos is the brother-in-law.
Always.
Yeah. He does not realize that he is married in and needs to be there.
I was a brother-in-law for a minute. And I will say, I totally get it. Like, why am I part of this? What am I doing? Melanie's saying like it was a wedding where the 2-year-old niece had a meltdown. You know, I worked for a wedding photographer a million years ago. He used to bring a clipboard to give to a kid to make them feel like they're important. Like, make sure you get everybody's name for us, and they go around and just give them like a task or something like that, which I thought was brilliant. But a meltdown, that sounds way more serious to me.
Well, I mean, a 2-year-old is kind of a ticking time bomb, especially on a wedding day.
Yeah.
For me, what I would do is, as long as it was kind of still appropriate, I'd be snapping pictures of that kid having a meltdown, because that's actually what happened. As long as I wasn't the one who caused the meltdown, then I don't want any photo evidence of that. But the bride and groom are going to look back at that when this kid is like 18 and tease her about it for the rest of her life.
And those aren't the shots they're going to get prints of, but they want to know what happened, and they're going to want to remember that this kid, who hopefully grew up successful, was a tyrant one time, I guess. I don't know. Matthew's saying, translation to movie world, fix it in pre-production and find a great first AD. Yes.
Fair.
Yeah, honestly, the most you can do beforehand, the less you have to do after the fact, or the more you have to work with to save after the fact. But a wedding, I feel like they're kind of the same motions as you do another wedding. I'm not a wedding photographer. I've only done a few of them in my lifetime, but like, they are the same motions. Like, and people are there for the wedding, so make sure they're there for the photos. But I can only imagine you schedule it out, make them nice and easy for people. But do you roll with a team? Do you have assistants? I mean, I know you throw your husband into the wolves every now and then.
So all the weddings that we do is just usually me and my husband. So we don't bring like a crew of assistants or anything like that. We're both photographing the whole time. We're like a 2-photographer team. So it's a lot of me making sure that all our ducks are in a row ahead of time. Yeah. To just kind of and that's one of the reasons that I still love photographing weddings, is we set everything up for success before the wedding starts, with timelines and lists of family photos and knowing exactly what the bride and groom want captured. And then we just let the moments come. Unveil. Yeah. You know, if the 2-year-old's going to cry, she's going to cry, you know, and we'll photograph it.
Yeah, I think she was basically saying like I couldn't get her in a group photo. So then what do you do at that point, right? Is it just like a lost cause, or are you just you're gonna throw that kid on a flatbed scanner and then AI?
We just bring that scanner and we just squish that face down in there and hit the scan button and go. No, I mean, if that 2-year-old is having a meltdown at the church where you're supposed to be doing family photos, I'll always say, hey, is she going to be, you know, at the reception? Maybe she's just a little hangry, and, you know, we'll throw some snacks during cocktail hour at her and just try to get another group shot later.
Just chuck Swedish fish at their face and hope for the best.
Man, I could use some Swedish fish right about now.
Hey, Maury. Oh, Maury's got a big bag of Swedish fish in there. The thing about like weddings is like they're so unpredictable, but you have the same motions to get through. So I feel like as long as you keep hitting the notes you have, everything else is just extras. I mean, I don't really know about that, but if you have a bossy aunt you dial in, do you have a bossy uncle that shows up with like a 300 millimeter f2 and just tries to like outshoot you all the time? Or do you have any of those kind of? I feel like everyone has an Uncle Bob that shows up with his new Sony or something.
Yeah. So I feel like there was a trend for a while where we blamed poor Uncle Bob. And I like legit actually have an Uncle Bob.
Okay.
And I adore him. He works on a dairy farm full of cows and probably has never picked up a camera in his life. But so every time someone says Uncle Bob, I'm like, oh, but he's like with the cows and everything. But
He's with the cows. That sounds very sinister.
I mean,
that sounds like a mafia like slang for he sleeps with the fishes.
Have you met my family, Seth?
I don't know. I mean, you're in such a wholesome, what was it? River Phoenix? What is the name?
Phoenixville?
River Phoenix?
River Phoenix, yeah. Yeah, well, they actually build a phoenix out of wood every year and they burn it down in town.
No, they don't.
They do. It's called
serious?
the burning of the phoenix.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So wholesome.
It is. I live in a Hallmark town.
Well, that's very good if you're a photographer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So what is this trend that you noticed for a few years?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I do feel like there was people getting new digital cameras, like your aunts and uncles or that family third cousin twice removed, bringing that camera because they were excited. Can we all take a step back and remember the moment that we got our first camera?
It was also super accessible.
It was.
The prices came down with the capability went nuts.
When we get a new camera, when we get a new lens, when we get a new toy, we want to play, right? And it's so much fun when you, again, take that camera out of that box and you snap pictures with it. I can imagine being that uncle. And he has this camera and he's at his brother, like his niece's wedding or something like that. And he wants to capture something of the people he loves.
I don't think that's what it is.
So my only major restriction with people with cameras is I will remind my bride and groom that if they step in front of me during the ceremony,
Elbows.
I will throw an elbow, but I might miss something if they step in front of me.
Right.
And I do not allow family members with cameras during the portrait time.
Oh no! Why? I don't think it's them want. This is gonna sound really cynical of me, and I get it. But I don't think it's them wanting to take pictures of the people they love, whatever. I honestly think people buy a camera and then don't know what to shoot.
Yeah.
And then they go to a family event and they get like this pseudo 15 minutes of fame of being like, well, I'm the guy in the family that shot the things with the Charlotte bouquet and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. I'm glad you're psyched and we're glad you're buying cameras. That's for sure. It's keeping the industry alive. But I do think that a lot of people struggle when they buy a camera to go now what?
Yeah.
And that's why I think street photography is the first place they go through. They walk around, they see what they shoot, which sometimes leads to portraits because they're seeing people that are interesting and then leads to other things. But especially what we do in here with all the lighting demos, I'm like, no one buys a camera and goes, well, you know what I'm going to buy now? A complete studio setup with 3-point lighting. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, you should.
Yeah.
We should all have a studio.
You do studio sessions at your storefront though, right?
I do, yes.
So was that a gradual thing? Because I don't think you started in a studio, right?
No, we definitely did not start in a studio because we photographed, I think at our peak, almost 70 weddings a year.
That's pretty good.
Which was a lot.
You think of this 52 weeks in a year.
It was a lot. We celebrated a lot of love. There was a lot of love. And then 2020 rolled around and weddings were not necessarily going on.
Pivot
so
central, right?
One of our first trips out of the house, we walked through Phoenixville and there was this beautiful little storefront that had a sign in it that said for rent. And in June of 2020, we signed a lease for a storefront on the main, I call it the main drag, through town. And we got a great deal and we ended up with an amazing landlord in a beautiful building that I now could do my meetings with clients there instead of at my home. And I could set up portrait sessions and capture something, the next step. I was so focused on weddings for the longest time. And now this has given me, since 2020, the world to capture more families, more love, more different things.
More different things.
More different things.
Have you thought about doing anything inside your space that's a little more photo nerd community oriented, like having gallery shows for people that are psyched on their work or meetups or something? Or
I would love to host meetups at my studio.
Craigslist meetup at Jen Spot. You heard it right here.
Bring your bossy aunt.
And your shovel. So No.
Is the shovel for me or the bossy aunt?
We have to find out. That's the fun of the shovel.
That's the hook right there.
If someone shows up with a shovel, you're like, something's going down.
Something's going down.
We're either digging a fun hole, making a fort. No, if I had, this isn't the biggest space, but like it's so when you have a space, it changes everything. One, you set hours for yourself, which is kind of nuts, right? Once you have like a place outside of where you live, when I shot in my apartment in Brooklyn as my studio, I always hate my life. Your commute from work is 10 feet to your bed, and you're like, I never left here for 3 days.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And then you have people like in your home breathing on stuff.
Looking at your things.
I mean,
you have to watch what you eat for dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had to be like, don't mind the machetes. They're props or whatever, No, but I had a lot of weird special effects stuff from over the years, and the famous one is I had a jar of teeth.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, and so I just remember there were certain clients that were coming. I was like, let me just put this in the cabinet before anybody asked me any questions about that, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Because it was like a corporate headshot client, like a dentist or something like that, or someone I knew.
Oh my God, if it was a dentist and he was holding a jar of teeth.
I said that. God damn. No,
that is an award-winning photo right there.
You know what I would love to do is just a dentist like spitting out a ton of teeth into like a jar.
And then you could use AI to remove his teeth.
Now that guy's getting hired on LinkedIn. That guy's getting some not hired. You don't hire a dentist. You just
make an appointment.
You make an appointment.
Yeah.
They're getting clients, I guess, patients, whatever you call it. Man, I always say dentist when I say corporate porch. I wonder why I do that. Like, why is a dentist the one? I do say, I think out of all medical fields, I photographed more dentists than any other medical field.
Okay.
I don't know why those guys and women.
It's because you have a jar of teeth. You manifested it.
I think I got to tell you, a lot of dentists, I think, care about their image.
I think they do.
I think people are so scared of a dentist. They're so nervous. They just want to see like a non-threatening human. The guy who's doing my teeth now, stunning human being. This guy looks like he walked right out of like central casting for good looking guy number 3. It was just crazy. But I remember when I was looking for a dentist, like, this guy looks young, has great energy. Done. Let's go. He's been great. Dr. Toxo, what's up, man? Gary Hughes is in the chat. Of course he is. Jen, you're an early adopter of AI tools. Have you taken a look at the new Lightroom culling? I mean, you had to if you were just at Adobe Max.
Yeah, I mean, I was just at Adobe Max. So they did launch culling within the program while I was there. And it's in Lightroom Classic and in Lightroom Desktop, I believe is what it's called. It's going to be neat. I think it's going to be a great way for people to narrow down some of those photos that they've taken.
So what are the parameters? Probably like blinks and out of focus and other stuff like that.
Yeah, so you can have it so it'll automatically remove like documents or misfires. It can detect closed eyes, and it can detect I've played around with it just a little bit. I've actually been working my butt off since I got home.
I'm going to a wedding right after this demo tonight, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I have a wedding tomorrow. I flew back from LA on Friday. We had outdoor Santa Claus sessions at a tree farm on Saturday and Sunday. I edited those photos on Monday. Wait, what day is it? Is it Wednesday? What did I do yesterday?
And she'll be here 5 o'clock live, shooting live, doing a couple session. So after that, she's grabbing all her stuff and getting over to a wedding for the next day.
Yeah.
This is what you got to chase it while you get it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love kind of the craziness. I love the random. I'd say October was probably one of the most random months of my life so far as a business owner and everything. And man, I'm just enjoying the ride. I
think the best photographers, whether you think style or just the way they work is successful, however you grade a good photographer, the best photographers embrace chaos. I thrive. If it is I freak out if it's not, something has to get messed up. I can't do this. When I do demos, they got to yell at me. I can't have anybody be quiet. You've been in my, I can't.
I think I've yelled at you at your demos.
You have to. It freaks me out. It's like, why is nothing happening? Why is it so quiet? Why are the voices in my head talking? Because there's nothing else talking, But I think the AI tools, to Gary's point, because you're so hectic, it has to help you out, right? You're not sitting there on a plane doing something that could just be a click, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anything that AI can do to just take some of the tasks off my plate are just wonderful.
But you have to let some of yourself go a little bit. It's something else doing it for you. It's like when wedding photographers send out their stuff for retouching or whatever, it's not you touching it or doing your color grading anymore. that's a step, I think, a major step in all wedding photographers. I mean, sure, you've battled yourself of like, I can't sit here for every session and go through every single pixel and figure something out.
So, I mean, I still go through like a good majority of my images, but if I can push a button and it removes everything that's out of focus, those are images that I don't have to look through. So if you're shooting like 5,000 frames at a wedding and like half of those, not half, ooh, that would be a lot, but like, hold on.
You need to learn.
Whoa. I'm a better photographer than that, everyone, I swear.
Your camera's a better camera than that.
The camera's better, yeah.
Yeah.
But even if it's blinks, blinks and things that are out of focus, if you remove those, it's that many less images that your brain has to acknowledge and go through.
But at a wedding, my argument with this is at a wedding, I don't care if they blinked or it's a little soft. What if you missed a weird moment because it culled it out?
I still look through all the thumbnails. And like, because I existed at that wedding and I look through all my galleries before delivering them to my clients, I make sure that those weird, quirky moments are in there.
That's interesting because I know there's a lot of wedding photographers that do like a lot of volume, and they have other photographers do it under. They do the portrait session, and they leave, and they do the reception or whatever, right? If it's culling out images of moments that you weren't there for and you don't even know existed, so then is there another step of you have to go to the images that culled and then you go through it manually? Like it's still not as.
I mean, for me, like I'm looking at anything that was removed out. I'm looking at the just thumbnails to make sure it didn't remove out something I wanted.
Okay.
But again, I existed there. I participated in the moments of the day. I wasn't just like a monkey with a camera, like
but I think
randomly
that's your
shooting
advantage
things.
of your business. I think that's you. I think that is like why you're hired. You're part of it. You're not just like a brand name and they get random. They go, no, they get Jen, right? So I think that's a big thing and that's hard to relate to people. I think you have to probably lean a lot on word of mouth.
We do rely on word of mouth, but we also rely on the quality of our images. We rely on connecting with other people at events. I've had people who were guests at a wedding contact me after and be like, hey, we really appreciated the way you treated Melissa. We know she's not the easiest person. So perhaps, you're going to do. We appreciated the way you treated Uncle Bob. I mean, like, what do it doesn't matter what name, Karen. I mean, like, what name do you want me to like?
It's super funny. It's like, listen, we know how she can be.
It's how they treated Seth. There's this guy, Seth, and he is,
Special.
Yeah.
Look, I totally get it, but I think it's what you're probably most successful for is probably so hard to relate to people that are coming at you cold, like walking into a storefront. They have no clue what type of experience they're in for. But I think you're probably shooting 70 weddings. If you didn't walk away with one person per wedding referring you probably did something wrong.
Yeah. I mean, people like to be seen. People like to be heard. And if you just see somebody for who they are and just acknowledge them a little bit.
That's fair.
It's the human connection that we're all kind of striving for.
And also AI, right?
And AI.
Yeah. AI and human connection. What can go wrong? There's no movies about that at all.
No.
Nothing. None.
None.
Man. I just saw the new Tron and I was like,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Are you a Tron person?
I am not a Tron person, but the robots do kind of scare me a little bit.
I got to tell you, I sat watching Tron. I'm like, this is the most dated IP ever. Like we're literally living in AI right now. And it did not go this way. This is not what it is. If you like Tron, I'm sorry, but I don't know. Johnny's saying Vanessa Joy calmly talks about how each wedding is you presenting yourself to 200-300 people. Yeah. Every job you do, I don't care what genre it is. That is your job interview for the next jobs. When I do a commercial job, all those people on that set, I always tell you guys about that time I did a job for Makeup Forever, but I was nice to the caterer and their producer. It was they were the brother or somebody of the producer that booked me on my next job. You don't know. You're in front of people. Like you have no idea. And they want to see not just the images that got produced, what you dealt with, how you dealt with, how fast you move, what your demeanor and etiquette was, how people felt when they walked away from you. I always freak out over makeup artists that are rude.
Yeah.
Because they have the most time with client in my world. So it's like, if they had a bad experience there, I'm suffering to shoot and then they're not coming back anyway, So also who you hire is also part of your audition as well.
I am very nice to the makeup artists.
You have to be.
Very, very nice.
A real makeup artist works harder than anybody. They're in before everybody. They're out last. You can't even do your job till they get finished with theirs. I mean, they're prepping like crazy.
And sometimes they're not even starting with like a blank canvas. It doesn't matter how much they've prepped their clients, and their clients are like, oh, you wanted me to wash my hair? You didn't want me to wash my hair? I did the primer already. I was thinking this shade of lipstick, and actually I would love it dark and smoky.
Yeah. Oh, the smoky eyes. Smoky eye, red lip. It's brunch.
Yeah.
What are we doing? It's okay. Listen, if you want to look, you get a look, but you can always tell like a pro model by the way they show up. They're not just blank, but they're put together in a way that there's a starting point instead of coming back from -0. When they show up and they're like, you were totally out all night. I could totally tell you're out all night. I know some people send out an email to their clients, like when they're doing a portrait. I don't know if you do this, like make sure you hydrate the day before, make sure you sleep. Do you do any kind of that prep work?
I do that prep work. I always remind them to, if they're getting any beauty treatments, it needs to be done like 72 to 48 hours ahead of time.
You count as a beauty treatment.
Well, I mean, like if they're going to like
get a chemical peel.
Yeah. Like a wax or something, or anything that would leave red marks.
If you're going to inject anything into your face, do it a week prior.
Yeah. Because there's allergic reactions too.
That's fair. That's very
so,
fair.
I mean, there's nothing worse than like panicking over getting your photo taken, and now you're dealing with an allergic reaction to something, and now you're dealing with, is my photographer going to retouch it? And then like your client arrives and they're like, so you'll retouch it, right?
Do you feel that you're able to have conversations easier as a woman than other photographers? I feel like when you talk about someone's appearance when they show up to your studio, I am not saying anything ever anymore. But I do think that there's a difference. I'm going to be very honest. I do think janitor with tattoos and then very welcoming, warm Jen are two different dynamics before you even open your mouth, you know?
I mean, I think it's just your personality, not you, figurative you. I think it's just about how you approach different things. And like for me, I have one of those personalities. I can address men, I can address women on their looks prior to the session. Because I've done a lot of that legwork with them. They're expecting me to tell them things like that. If you are a more, let's say, gruff person, gruff. Is that a word?
That might be the first
Can you
time
spell
on
that?
this podcast. That might be
then perhaps like bringing in an assistant who's a little more soft-spoken and everything like that
Smart.
is a good person to have. Even the makeup artist.
Yep.
If you have a makeup artist there, usually you can be like, hey, can you remind them that they need to... Who knows?
Anything that requires like touching for some reason, whatever it might be, I always try to call them the makeup artist because they already had that rapport of poking and touching and brushing and all sorts of things. So that's usually my best bet. But I always think about Gary because he's always like, you're 50% creepier than you think you are. So don't think it's okay to do anything. And then Cisse will say like, even if they say it's okay, it still might be okay because they're under a pressure environment that they think they have to say okay. And the last thing you want to do is have them think back and go, actually, that wasn't a cool experience. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I do think that you have, I'm telling you, if you check out her demo at 5 p.m. today, you're going to see this weird superpower she has. Just not even, there's no barrier. She's just like, I'm Jen and I'm here now. And it's just amazing. People just drop guard so quick with you. It's wild. Look, I hate everybody. And I started talking to you at trade shows in like 5. I was like, she's all right.
I've got one of those faces.
I don't know what it is. I really don't. Maybe you guys can check it out live, but and if you guys do want to see that, that's this QR code here for that channel at 5 o'clock today. And you should hit subscribe there anyway, because if you can't watch it at 5 o'clock, it'll be on replay. So don't mess up, kid.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I will never live it down.
Look, I was happy that you did demos at the Adorama booth. I got a chance to see like how you are in really confined spaces and dealing with like crowds that are this close. It's kind of wild when you see educators that are usually pretty good on a platform, but then fall apart completely on a floor demo. And I love floor demos. I think they're like a punk show. You just scream at people. I'm grabbing their name tags. I don't care.
It's literally like a mosh pit in there.
It is. It totally is. It feels like a block party.
It is.
It feels like you're in a barbecue you're at the barbecue section of a block party. That's what it feels.
And they're running out of cheeseburgers.
Or someone's going to be like, oh, you flipped it too soon. And then you yell at them and tell them why you didn't flip that thing too soon and why they're wrong.
Yeah, and do you want mustard or ketchup? I mean...
I really do think that you did a great job on the floor demo. And if you can do floor, you can do platform. But you can't do platform and do floor. It doesn't work both ways. So that's why I'm pretty psyched on having her in here. First of all, do you even want to go this direction of doing demos? Like, I feel like you work 70 weddings a year, all this stuff. Do you even want to stop and go, I'm going to go do a class now? Do you even care about doing that aspect of it?
I I think that our industry right now should be thriving on education,
Okay.
and especially in-person education. And even though it's a little I get a little nervous in front of crowds and everything like that, I do think it's important to connect with people and teach them how to do our jobs better.
I think it's the only way we're going to have a future.
I agree.
I think. But I think a lot of people that get nervous when you are teaching about something that like you just do, once you're doing it, you know what I mean? Like if you think about it, you've done live shoots in front of thousands of people. You just don't realize it because you were doing weddings, right?
Exactly.
Here, what's obnoxious, you have to stop and go, all right, the reason I'm taking the lens cap off is because I have to see what I'm doing. Like it gets a little tedious that way. Like every demo that me and Dan do, we could do that shot in 5 minutes, but we have to drag it out for an hour. It drives me nuts. But I think a lot of what you're going to show, like you said, I was like, hey, what kind of background? She's like, because you were more about, I want to talk about what could go wrong, what kind of chaos I'm in, interacting with the people. It's the in-between stuff that I don't think we teach.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking a lot tonight about storytelling and using lenses for storytelling purposes.
Okay.
So I'm not really focused on the lighting. I'm not really focused on the posing tonight. I'm focused on how do I use the tools to tell the story of my clients.
You're going to be swapping through lenses?
I am. I brought a whole bunch of lenses, yeah.
Boy, can't wait.
I will probably get so nervous and drop one. Oh. So everyone should tune in to watch me drop a lens. That would be cool.
What I love about this space is that it's like our comedy cellar. And I myself try things out here that I will then evolve for bigger stages. That's what makes it so special to sit in these seats. Yes, you can watch online, but like there's something about like being eye level with people while you're doing the thing, especially when we stop streaming and then all the questions come up that they didn't want to ask while you were doing the class and all that kind of stuff. But I think, the demos make me better when I have to work for real. I mean, the stuff that goes wrong or even just, I've had art directors now ask me like what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm able to articulate it better, that they can absorb it a little differently now. I think having a conversation while you're shooting, you're not just stuck in the box, you know?
I feel like once you've lived the pressure of a wedding day over and over and over again, and realizing that
like a horror film.
It does. I mean, a little bit, but like that pressure never changes for the new couple. It's a new couple every time, right? So they are going to have the same amount of pressure every single time. But for you, every time you go, the pressure should get a little bit less every single time.
You go through the motions a little more, right?
Right. And then again, your client loves the fact that you've been to so many weddings and that you've seen, I always like to say I've seen it all and I've seen nothing at the same time. Like something new.
Wait.
So like I've been to weddings where like they forgot the rings.
No way. Wait, what Podong town is this? No, I'm just kidding. No, how do you forget the rings? Was it the brother-in-law?
I mean, I think so. To be fair, actually, I do think it was.
They like so, wow.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, like you see all these little things that keep, like, what's the worst thing that happens, right?
I think someone having a heart attack.
Yeah,
like
I mean, that would be
coming about a funeral. I think would probably be the worst.
Yeah, there's like what, 4 weddings and a funeral. They made a movie about that.
Yeah, that's a '90s kid thing.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Finn, we'll talk about a fish called Wanda next.
Yeah, remember we're getting older. They're getting younger.
Shut up, Jen. Oh, never having you back. No, I think you're right though, and Gary's saying the event space is the ultimate gauntlet for demo shooting the photo industry. Wow. Yes, but I would like to think I facilitate a safe space for educators here. I make sure you guys have everything you need. You're just going to be in a bit of a space that's smaller than you're used to. I'm used to it, so I don't care. I mean, you're going to be all right.
It's cute.
You have 4 times the space that you had at the trade show.
I know, and I'm excited for that. Right. I actually brought like longer lenses that I'm hoping to use. Like, I'm excited.
You know what people don't do that if they bring longer lenses? And this for all you educators that complain to me. If you're going to use a longer lens, you go there and shoot this way. It's fine.
Yeah, I might do that.
It's okay, go do it.
I might do
yourself out. Live your truth. It's all right. I don't care. The stuff that we have pulled off, we built a dark room in that corner and shot paper negatives here. Daniel had Muay Thai fighters in here doing spin kicks before there was even an event space. There was kiosks of gear here. I mean, the stuff that's happened here has been legendary, and you're about to add to that legacy tonight at 5.
Oh, no pressure.
What's the pressure? Honestly, tell me what you feel the pressure is. I feel like if I threw you in here, that should be enough for them to go, we'll give her leeway. There's got to be a reason that she's going in that event space.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure is like, I would love for everyone to walk away with just one thing that'll make their business or their personal photos just a little bit better.
Sometimes though, and yes, but sometimes they just into this stuff and they just want to have an entertaining, it's like watching a YouTube video you know.
Yeah, but it's live and they could like poke me.
If no one's touching anybody, I will break fingers, kids. No, I think you. I'm not saying cute. No, I think it's sharpening teeth when you do a demo, but I would like to think that you have enough leeway to think it's my demo. I can do it. This is a blank box that, as much as it's a studio where you can shoot the shot you want, you give the demo you want to give. What I try to tell people is like, you got to let the crowd shape it because they're the ones absorbing it. If you start talking at them, you're getting nowhere. You got to be, there's people that come in here years ago that were so scripted and curated, and they taped out the floor and they did measurements and they had their beats and they said the same exact joke at the same exact time. And I'm like, yo, what are we doing? But I think in this era, because we're all social now, that's gone away. I think our habits have changed because of the phone. Do you think that, like, you go live on Instagram, right? You go live on whatever, right?
I don't, oh man, I should like ask one of the Utes to teach me how to go live because I don't.
You got to keep you saying this. You sound like the judge in My Cousin Vinny, you know? It's like, what is a Ute? 2 Utes.
The youths of America. So I mean, tracking back, you talked about people sitting here like in the audience. And I absolutely love this concept of in-person education because the value of sitting in the audience and being able to actually, we're going to say reach out and touch, but we're not actually like, you said no touching. So no, we're like not actually, connect. Yeah, we can connect. Yeah. And like, you can actually ask a question to a human that does this job professionally or may have an answer for you.
Beyond that, because you can do that in the chat room. What people don't get about being in person to a demo is, how many of you have asked, if I could only be in a studio while that person works? Hey, could I come by and just while you work, can I just absorb it? You get that, period. Right? I mean, I always tell this story. Like, I remember when I was helping Joe out, Joe McNally, and he's all this amazing knowledge. I'm like, no, Joe, what's that weird little clamp you just used that no one cares about? Because that's the thing I care about. These little tiny things, but you get to be there at the time of and be part of it. You kind of sculpt it, right? I think it's kind of nuts. And what an advantage you youths have.
Hey.
No, when we were growing up, you had to assist.
Yes.
There's nothing like this. You could not go to a random place for free or just open up your phone and then type in whatever you're trying to know on a screen. Like, this is bananas.
But I love that with the live education, it could take a left turn. Absolutely. Oh, that was right. But it could take a left turn, a right turn, left turn. It could go in any direction based on the needs of the people who are sitting in the audience.
And someone doing a demo that can handle that, that's the legitimacy. It's not I got to a perfect photo at the end. It's like, no, did you handle the wrench thrown at your face? You know what I mean? That's Brian's asking, does Jen show the clients the photos during the actual shoot and get approvals in real time? Like, do you show them your tether or do you show them on the back of your camera while you're doing whatever?
So when I'm photographing like a corporate headshot or anything like that, I am tethered into like a big TV screen so they can make adjustments real time. They're going to know their brand and be able to want to fix like the little hairs or like a shirt thing for there. If I'm photographing like an engagement session on location with like a client, I'm not bringing a monitor with me to like show them like the images on the back. I will though, if I take something that I know is in focus and I know the eyes are open and I know, like, you know, when you take that shot and you can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Ooh, like it gives you the chills. I will get the chills in front of my clients. I'll like big, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I'll show them, and it's on that little tiny screen on the back. I will show them on the back there. But as far as, again, on location, not really showing things, headshots, yeah, I show them.
Yeah, there's nothing like the feeling of like you're onto something while you're getting into it. And you're like, okay, now where do I navigate this? I show models, I guess because I work with models more than I show them when I'm trying to relay the vibe and feel I'm trying to get to, because you can't until they see it. And in your head, I think we all do this as photographers. We're like, no, you don't understand. Like you think you're relaying what is in your skull so clearly. But they're not looking at they have no idea.
You are not.
And most people aren't as visual, believe it or not. I think we take for granted how crystal clear we see some things.
Oh yeah.
And they have no, especially like sometimes someone that's not creative at all, like corporate portraits, they don't understand what could be.
Oh
They're
yeah.
trusting you. And then you want to get them out there earlier, so you show them the tether and be like, come on, fix that color.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want to fix it in post. Like, let's just fix it here in person instead. But I mean, the other great advantage of showing like on the back of the camera is like if you did something really cool that's an in-camera effect, because there's so much we can do in post. If like you took something with like a filter and the background's all blurred because of that, showing them on the back of the camera, they're like, oh my gosh, my photographer's amazing because they actually did it. Yeah. That wasn't a button they pushed in post.
And they get amped up and they get more into it. And there's nothing worse than shooting with someone that you could tell just isn't part of it. And that, no matter how you light, no matter what angle you find, energy is energy sometimes. And I think that's kind of what you're going to get into tonight. I really think you're going to see. I'm psyched on this demo, one, because I'm not just saying this. I really think she's a good educator. I think she's solid as a rock, but she's going to go into things that we don't always get into, which is the in-between, like she's saying, the storytelling. So do yourselves a favor. Make sure you, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe on this thing. 5 o'clock Eastern today. Don't forget, you can hit follow on all her stuff over here. Oh my gosh, we just went through it, but you know what? You get to sign the famous wall of people who've been here now. Look at this. Look at this.
It's cute.
Stay up on Jen. We're gonna groom her into giant stages and big things. I got to call you for your first big stage, right?
You did. That was you.
The crying that happened, unreal.
There was tears.
I was like,
there was 100% tears.
I may or may not have done this. No, but when you can tell that someone cares, you know you're going to get something special out of that. It's not just another thing. So do yourself a favor. Check out the demo live today. Follow Jen and your studio, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Fox and, what did I put up there? Uncorked. Fox and Brazen, which is, let me give you this, which is this one right here. I asked you which one. You told me this one. You told me the other one.
That's totally fine. You can follow me on both.
Okay. Make sure you follow both. And if you are going to a trade show, are you going to be at any of them?
Oh, yeah. I am going to be, found out today I'm going to be at Imaging on the trade show floor.
Right. Oh, yeah. Our booth.
Yeah. And then I'm actually headed to London right after that for the Society of Wedding Portrait Photographers over in London.
Huh. I'm going to London in like 4 weeks.
You're going to love it if you haven't been.
I've been. Me and Joe McNally do a demo, do a workshop every couple of years or whatever, but I just realized that you just said that. I'm midway through November and I just realized.
Maybe you should write that. Yeah.
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 Oh boy. Anyway.
Also going to be appearing at Shutterfest and a handful of other places throughout the year next year.
WPPI?
On the fence.
On the fence. Either way, Imaging is up next. That's in Nashville. I highly recommend it. It's Professional Photographers of America. It's a good organization. Check out our PPA. Did you do any videos for their channel yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So, but your husband did.
He did, yeah. So, my husband has some videos on there.
So check out our PPA on YouTube. Hit subscribe there. There's a lot of, I'm going to say Adorama host community on that channel as well. Jen, thank you so much. We're going to clear all this out and get ready for her demo. We will see you at 5 o'clock in that chat or in those comments if you're watching a replay. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Next week, I got New York Nico coming in. If you don't know New York Nico, check out New York Nico on Instagram. Love this guy. Can't wait. See you guys at 5. We're going live again. Okay, cool. Later, guys. Be good.
Thank you.